Hello and good day to you all. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded, but there's going to be a barrage of videos coming at you. This specifically I wanted to get up today is about Samhain and the Samhain spell jar, which I have a little example of right here, just to give you a little information. I know it's a little bit late in the day for those of you that are going to catch this video later, but just want to get this documented and what have you. By the way, I appreciate all of you that either leave comments or have texted or sent me private messages on Facebook about get some stuff up, and I know you appreciate it. And I just kind of do videos when I want. I don't like it tugging on me where it's feeling like I'm doing something for a living. I feel like a lot of people on YouTube are don't have a lot of integrity when it comes to that, because it doesn't seem like it always comes from the heart. So I also want to say that this is not shifting over to a pure channel about magic, although I am doing yet another magic thing here. My intention was to get a food thing up, so let me just tell you that, like, taking charge of your body with nutrition and health and wellness and supplements and herbs and getting your mind focused, that is magic. So anyways, let me introduce to you the lovely Crystal, who met me through my YouTube blog.
Hello.
And she's a little bit apprehensive about doing video uploads, although we did talk about doing this. And this is another topic that I want to get into, of just connecting with people. Try to keep this short because it just really can inspire you in a big way. And I myself, I don't have a lot of people that I interface with and enjoy. I have my tribe of people in LA, but they're kind of on a little bit of a different trip from me. And anyways, I think we have a lot in common. Crystal has an awesome collection of friends who she is like kind of a tribe, yeah?
Yeah, I think a lot of us just started our journey on our own, and then it seemed like we all lived in vicinity of each other and didn't know, and eventually came closer and closer together, and we were all kind of connected. So it's just grown from there.
But I think the lovely thing is all of this kind of started with me and you, and this is a bit of a 2012 thing, and with the change of the ages, because it was pretty much directly after December 21, 2012, of when we connected, because it was February 2013, and just, is your life the same since then?
No, I'm a radically different person.
As we all should be. Or, and if you're not, like, just put your feet up and just float down the stream, as Timothy Leary says. So let's get on with the talk about Samhain. So everything is magic. Taking charge of your life from a vegan point of view, of having the awareness that animals are people too, and of like seeing who you are and being introspective with who you are as a unique being, that is magic. So don't think like this is why I don't have this nutrition channel and this magic channel, because the ultimate way to be is to have it all as one. Who you are. In my case, I'm a probably frontline is my nutrition, wellness, health freak thing, music freak, and the spiritual thing. And I don't want those things separate. So anyways, let's get to talking about Samhain, and then my little thing about the Samhain spell jar. I'm saying it wrong. How do you say it in the book?
There's like a million different ways to say it, like Samhain. Where did I look it up? There's like multiple different ways to say it. I don't think it really matters how you say it, but
and
sure
while she's saying that, let me tell you that Halloween is actually not a day by itself. Like Christmas Eve is the eve before Christmas. Samhain is, or Halloween, All Hallows Eve, is the eve before All Souls Day, which is a Catholic holiday. I'm pretty sure that's it. There's November 1st and November 2nd are both Catholicism holidays. Did you find it, love?
Yeah, so I'll just show you this book. I just got it because it was recommended by Keyth, and I just am really interested in getting into magic a lot more. And this is like a good basis while like I still want to have my own interpretation of everything. But this is like from the definition of Samhain, a Wiccan festival celebrated on October 31st, also known as November Eve, Hallowmas, Halloween, Feast of Souls, Feast of the Dead, Feast of Apples. Samhain marks the symbolic death of the sun god and his passing into the land of the young, where he awaits rebirth of the mother goddess at Yule, which is Christmas. This Celtic word is pronounced by the Wiccans as Samhain, Suwain, Samain, Samhain, Savine, and other ways. And the first one seems to be preferred amongst most Wiccans.
And I do want to just press that, like, I myself, and I believe as Crystal is a kind of a bit of a newbie to this world. She just had a reading from my psychic and two psychics that I go to, and of just this, as I'm doing stuff, and I believe as the way she's going to find out she wants to do stuff, of not being specifically focused on Wicca, but just of using this. I see this as a basis for having respect for nature, of seeing nature, because this is purely a nature religion. And actually, in my mind, I have a friend that's an atheist that, in a way, completely practices Wicca with his adoration of nature, moon cycles, seasons, and that's basically what that is. And this is just, for me, a piece of pie, a section in a circle of sections. It's all about my own spirituality, and she's heading in that direction. So, to me, last year, one of the most important things that I found was that I've always known that Samhain, Halloween, is the time when the veil between the etheric world and the physical world is at its thinnest. And I've known that for a while, but last year I had a profound experience with meditations. And so if you do nothing else that I'm talking about at this time, definitely do some kind of meditation and see how free your mind is at this time. I think another thing to mention also is that Halloween, Samhain, is kind of the end of the year. It's the end of this year, and the time between Samhain and winter solstice is a time of meditation, of seeing all the things that you did this year. And then winter solstice, sun return as it's called, is the beginning of the year. So it's just interesting how the Christian calendar, I don't have issues with the Christian calendar at all. I am not a nasty talker about Christianity at all. It's definitely a part of me as well. But anyways, so we just came back from Sedona, and we talked about that, about this period of like reflection and stuff like that, and just kind of in general what's going on.
Yeah, I felt like a huge pull to let go of a lot of things that aren't serving me, and just analyzing what my practices are, and wanting to get a lot more solid in daily rituals. And I think intention is really important, like the intention behind anything. And I think that's why spirituality, magic, food, music, all those things go together, because it's really all about the intention behind everything that you do and just being present in the moment. So, yeah, I've just felt like super inspired to let go of anything that's not serving me, whether it be people, habits, addictions, and also starting to plan for like my new life and the new rituals and things that I want to include, people that I want to have around me more, and really paying attention to who I spend the majority of my time around, because I believe that you really take on a lot of the traits of those people. So,
well said, my darling. So, also this time, so if you're getting this video late and you're like thinking, oh, freaking Keyth and all of his lateness of uploading and not being responsible to his over 1,000 subscribers that I have, hear me now in saying that this space between Halloween and winter solstice is not only a time for reflecting, but of what you did in this year, which has been an absolutely amazing year. I have like, wow, I'm going to talk about that probably later on. But it's also a time for making lists, journaling, and figuring out what kinds of new things that you want to do in 2016.
Yeah, I feel that that's really necessary. Kind of like what I was saying before about just figuring out what it is that you want in like your new life and as a new person. So, for example, I really want to. I've been inspired by being around Keyth and some of the other people here to really even make my eating habits better. And I have a slight food addiction, so just becoming more conscious of that and replacing things that aren't working for me with healthier things. So in order to do that, I'm gonna clean out my whole kitchen and really wipe everything down and get in the corners and get everything organized so that I can be inspired to make healthy food and be an example for other people, which I think is really important because everything should really be about being of service, in my opinion. And that's just my intention for being healthy, is obviously to feel the best ever so that I can help other people to feel that way.
And I want to say at this point also, one of my favorite quotations from the Bible, and we definitely want to mix in the Bible with the witchy, pagan stuff because it's all one. It's all from the same place. And Crystal is doing a bit of unlearning. She just read a prayer from here that she was like, oh, that sounds like evoking the devil. And it's like, that's cool, whatever, but like, and you just take steps at a time. But I think anybody gets the fact that there is something magical going on in this world that like modern society matrix is completely not paying attention to. And and we all fall back and we all have to participate in that world, but that is not a part of it. So the quotation from the Bible is, and I forget you can search it, it comes right up. So, as steel sharpens steel, so another man sharpens another man. Meaning, as we meet and as we associate and as we connect with each other, we improve each other. And that's kind of like the nature of human beings. So, Crystal's kind of helping me with tidying up my kitchen so I can do, that's always been a thing that I'm plagued by. She's pretty, I did some ritual and stuff that with Archangel Gabriel that was helping me with my sort of untidiness, and that has to do with the fact that I'm extremely right-brained or whatever, but as astrological signs have lower octave aspects, and as maybe somebody that's too right brain has lower octave aspects, and as somebody that's too left brain, and we know what all those lower octave aspects are because the world is left brain to death. Those are not excuses. Those are things that you have to do to improve on yourself. So, no fear here. We're also going to talk about the Samhain spell jar, which I did feel was important to talk about. And this is not something, I'm doing mine tonight, and it's not really something that is focused on tonight. You could do this at any time and you just leave it buried in the ground. So I did one last year which was pretty profound because I was making a lot of breakthroughs that actually did indeed manifest, because 2015 was my best year ever. So I actually went to the trouble last year, was like a really magical time for me. So essentially with the Samhain spell jar, you just find a lot of things, and I'm not completely left brain in my practice of Wicca, meaning like there's tons and tons and tons of tables that you can find out there. And Tumblr's a good spot, and at this point I do want to mention on Tumblr, and I'll put a link in the drop down, so have a look at this. The Darkest of Lights and the Druids Tea Party, those are two people that I follow on Tumblr. And if you feel inclined to follow my Tumblr as well, just a word of warning, as I've told you, there's occasional gay stuff that comes up in mine, so if you want to follow me on Tumblr, I'm kind of more active there than I am anywhere else from a very Keyth unedited point of view. So I am active on Facebook, but I do find Facebook to be a little bit like kind of mediocre. So anyways, you just like, I'm going to just tell you some of the, and by the associations, these tables and stuff of like, I don't even remember where I got some of this stuff, like whole allspice berries for money and luck, dried thyme for courage and strength, ground sage for wisdom, protection, remembrance. Anyway, so you just like find these associations, and if for your first time you want to just totally look at tables, I prefer to do some of my own associations. So one of the things that's in here, and this is just for an example, I'm not going to do this. I realized with my last videos that I don't actually feel comfortable doing like true magical charging and stuff like that, like on camera. Maybe I'll get to that point, but I'm not sure. I'm ambivalent about that, about whether that has an authenticity of like whatever. I'm not going to digress on that. So this is something we plucked up out of my backyard, which is an unusual thing because since July I've gotten 18 inches of rain, which is I've lived in these mountains all my life. It's this bizarre occurrence. And to tell you the truth, I've been wishing for a while that my mountains would turn into more of a subtropical climate. More rain, so I can get more mushrooms. And also, if you want to shoot over to Facebook, me and Crystal and my friend Lysandra, because of all the rains, we did some mushroom foraging. That's in the drop down too, and that's a very unusual occurrence because mushrooms really do not occur so much in here. Enough of that digression. But oak leaf, I see that as like a strong reoccurrence of like a true nature because oaks are so prevalent here and stuff like that. And I got the acorns in there. I'm probably going to put a few rocks in here. And in my last Samhain jar, which is actually because of all the rain I've gotten, the lid, buried it in the ground. The lid has slightly exposed where it's buried because of the soil washing away, which I thought was totally cool. I'm pretty sure everything's manifested in that jar that I've wanted. Some of the things that I put in here were like some lyrical notes, pieces of paper, messages. I can't remember what but my partner that I work with heavily with my musical project, Second Culture, Jayson, I wanted him to put some stuff in here, and he gave me a few beads, and I think he gave me a clump of his hair. And of course, once it was all assembled, each little piece went in there with intention. And then I sat there with the jar with just doing a meditative focus on that. And then just put all my attention in there for like, as this is the year end. And again, I alchemically am trying to get to where I do everything on the exact full moon, on the exact day. But like, as you're entering this world and becoming more of a magical person, just like with the 108 breaths, with the mala, Crystal introduced this to me because I'm not always regular with my meditation, and she is a part of
the superhero training with Michael McIntosh and Nick Good and Taylor Call. Yeah, I learned meditation that's like 108 breaths in the morning and 108 breaths at night. There's more to it than that, but
that's 108 beads on there, where it's like, I don't know where most people start, but I just started using this thing. I think there's a cultural something to do with this, because I easily found myself very engaged in wanting to do this. So I kind of start with that one bead there, and then I wind up with the bead that leads to the tassel. Is that what you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's more about like not trying to be a perfectionist with your rituals and just getting into the habit of actually doing it and then perfecting it as you go. And if you try to be a perfectionist, then you're not going to do it.
Because there's too many layers, because there's too much of a change. And that's the same with being vegan, with being taking your routine to a higher thing. And as you see all of this lovely fruit display back here that Crystal did, that like pretty much all that fruit there is like pretty much forbidden on my protocol, because I'm just zero sugar with everything I do. I'm ketonic vegan and whatever. And I'm not saying that the fruit is a lower step or whatever, but it's just you need to get your foot in the door and you need to like start doing stuff. And if you like overwhelm yourself with like, oh, I gotta be perfect and I'm just not gonna do it since I can't do it the right way. How many steps have you been through getting where you're at? Oh my God.
I've done lots of steps and then fallen back and then got back on, and then yeah, it's taken me years to get to where I am, and I know that there's always going to be more space to grow, and like it takes a lot of self-love to be able to like fall off and get back on. And yeah, that whole like knowing that it's not just for me, that it's to help other people as well, people that are sick or depressed or have severe anxiety or whatever it may be. I think what you put in your body is really important. So yeah, just taking those transitional steps and like solid steps that you can actually maintain. Don't just try to like, if you're eating a total sad diet and packaged foods and things, it's not really realistic sometimes for some people to jump to being like Sproutarian. But some people can, so it just depends on you, and you have to know yourself and trust yourself and love yourself. So
I've been on a long journey myself. I've been raw food since I was 22. I just celebrated 30 years of being a raw foodist. Or I'm not 100%. I have had long periods of that in there, but oh my God, I'm just journey up and down and up and down, and some of the cycles are bigger. And the cycles of up and down. I mean, some of them are short. And that's been interspersed with being a complete, like, cannabis pothead stoner, which, for me, a lot of my life that worked, and I don't think that it's an ultimate step to leave that alone. But at some point, you need to, like, connect with the divine purity of yourself, which has to do with just you, and not so much the assistance of, like, heavy mind-altering, I want to call it a substance, mind-altering plant medicines like cannabis, which is helpful for a lot of people to like get out of the matrix, and it's also helpful for a lot of people that are really old souls and have been multidimensional at times in their many lifetimes past. It helps you to deal with the fact that you've dropped down. Like, that's a whole other video by itself. But the point is just do it, of just starting to do stuff and to like just soldier on. Like, you've come through a lot of stuff. You're pothead at your times in your life. You comfortable saying that?
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, I'll own it. I think that it helped me to grow a lot, and it's probably been like almost a year since I was like heavily using it every single day, all day, to like get through. And yeah, I grew a lot through it, and it definitely was necessary in my life, and that was just a step. And yeah, there's different. Now I've switched to food instead of weed, and I'm totally conscious of that, and switching that off now too. But if there's something that you're trying to fill a hole with, it doesn't matter what it is, really. It's just like realizing what your intention is behind like using something, and like learning how to use yourself instead.
Of
and
just
have
being
a
aware of
connection.
that, of
Yeah.
that you're doing that, and not like, oh, I got to get out of this. Just do it until like something wakes up inside of you, and then you're ready to move on. There is no end to this journey. There's no plateau. There's no like. There's a lot of vegan-oriented people that act like there's an end to this thinking.
Yeah, never. I think the most important thing is not to make yourself feel bad for something that you're doing, because like there's always going to be a consequence of whatever you're doing. So there's no point in like giving yourself those negative feelings, like trying not to make yourself feel guilty for doing something, because you already have the consequences of eating the sugar or smoking the weed. So having like more negative consequences of like not having that love for yourself is even worse. So just deal with the consequences and be conscious of it and move on.
So we went all over the place, all of that kind of stuff as you're moving on in your journey and of like creating the new you. I'm going to wrap it up here. Find symbolic essences, little rocks, little stones from your front yard, whatever. And of course, you can take this up out of the ground in a year's time, and if you put like special little trinkets in there that you actually want to keep, you're conducting your intention in this jar with the magic of Mother Earth. So let's wrap this up and say, I'm going to say, support me by supporting my music. My website's down right now. It'll be up later. Lots of stuff on YouTube. There's links all over the place on here as we wrap this up.
I'm gonna make videos more eventually. I have a channel called Crystal Creator. It's all one word. So you can find me there and on Facebook.
Alright, y'all. Get ready, because in the next week here, or next few days while Crystal's here, we are going to be uploading a metric fuck ton of like recipe videos, talking, lots of stuff. So, this is Keyth, and
Crystal!
bye!